Good
I think
day.
it's the first time that I've spoken with you, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
Welcome everybody to 5 of the week, and also for those watching on the twitch.tv/SeamBasketball channel, we're gonna do a little live recording of this week's point task for at least myself. I'm not sure about the others. So yeah, 5 of the week is a program which does not happen weekly any longer, it seems, but where we talk about 5 different subjects on the SBA and suppose sometimes on the SPDL. Today we have a returning co-host from by way of Switzerland, of course. It's Danger Golding. Hello.
Hello. Glad to join the podcast again after I missed out on one episode, I think.
Yeah, but one episode was like of the past 3 weeks I've only done one, so basically it's been a while, I guess. We also have Nepto, who you all know from last week. Hello.
Or a couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah, and every other week, yeah. And we also have leflop here. Good to talk to you again, man.
Oh, hello. Yes, it's nice to be on another podcast. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, just to kick us off, we'll see the electric kettle once again running. So if it interrupts with the my audio levels, or if the microphone even picks it up, I'm just gonna mute myself for the first some time, and we'll continue from there. But other than that, how have you guys gotten into the new season of SBA? I guess we can start with leflop since we haven't heard from you on this program in a while. So how's it been in Atlanta? And you are now in, is it Toronto? Oh no, wait, you're still in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's it been?
Hoping we break the curse. I mean, in real life, the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, broke the curse. So now it's up to us. Abba's back, so I feel especially cursed. But who knows? It's our goal. Hopefully, we can get things together by the end of the season. But it's not been a great start.
All right. Yeah, I guess the local recording is picking up a lot of kettle noise, so I'm just gonna hold on my question, or at least I'm not gonna.
We're not picking up any, so.
Yes, I'm not gonna hold on to my question. I'm just gonna pass it on and hold on to other talking, which I just premierly failed. So about our head of media, was almost said head of science. Head of media, who just recently admitted he has not watched the games in 3 full seasons. With your recent plunging into early retirement, how do you foresee things changing from now on?
Well, I'm probably going to watch out the rest of the season. I've got like an 150 TP update to spend, so I'm going to spend that and then try and keep Bereme's season or career average up. Got to try and keep it around 33, hopefully. That's the sort of vague goal. But then plan out what I'm going to do with my recreate, which is, I've got a vague idea of what I want to do. But we'll see.
Will you be entering your recreate into the next draft available, or are you just still working out the details?
Yeah, next draft. So.
Sweet. So that would be actually one more player who is not a general manager type player in the next draft, which is good news for anyone looking for.
Not good news for the GMs, because they're going to have to take their awful GM players instead of the absolute superstar that I'll make.
Yeah, well, there's been some, yeah.
Doesn't Pittsburgh have another pick from I don't know which lottery team this time around?
Yes. Colorado and Chicago both. So intriguing times indeed. Yeah, with Nepto we talked just on Sunday, and suppose especially when Nepto said that he expects me to he expects me to be tired of talking to him. So I don't know how the listeners and viewers are gonna take to it, but what's been going on for the past few days then?
I wouldn't say a lot has changed. I mean, OKC is still doing fine. We're on playoff course. Magnus getting his points and a couple of stocks at the small forward position. Currently about third, fourth best small forward in the league. I will take that for year 4. And yeah, it's just cruising until the real stuff happens.
Excellent. All right. For the planned topics this week, we're gonna first delve into taking a look at the predictions now that they've locked in, and there's some more data for us to go off on. So just to read them through here, the popular picks for champion and runner-up, of course, a topic that we've gone through in the past was Houston Ravens and Houston Ravens. Then also Charlotte Aviators and the Pittsburgh Ironmen getting 14 and 11 prediction picks each respectively. And then the General Manager of the Year award is predicted to go to Jeff with 38 predictions. Then me, our coach's star, with 24. And then also Town in Houston with 14. The MVP trophy is expected to be just between Grant Thompson and Morgan Shadow Shield. Thompson was picked 54 times to Shadow Shield's 27, with Craven Walker also getting 2 picks, which sort of seems out of the ordinary once you saw the first bit of Sims last week, but maybe they just didn't change their original preseason prediction. And for scoring leader, offensive player of the year, it's hotly contested between Shadow Shield and Thompson. It seems 41 to 39 in Shadow Shield's favor. For defensive player of the year, there's 57 votes or prediction picks for Van Rong in Chicago, then 18 for Titus Truffant, and then a assortment of other players. And also Keyshawn Harris, who is or seems like would be a good pick at his current rate. For 6 man of the year, it's Black Lotus and Care Jest with 53 and 26 respectively. And then we get to the All SBA first team. But before we get there, what are some of you guys' thoughts on the picks there, especially on the team side and GM of the year side to kick us off? Are Houston the best pick still, in you guys' opinion, or would it be Charlotte or other? We can go to, I guess, Danger first to get the most spiciest I don't watch the games opinion.
Or sorry, I was missing the stream bit. So what? Who do we think's gonna win?
No, the question is just if Houston is the best pick there.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty clear that Houston are the favourites this season. Very much anticipating a Houston Charlotte finals, assuming they don't choke. But yeah, Houston, after their, can we call this is probably the biggest slump in Ravens history, like since they
modern history, yeah.
Well, I mean, they didn't have any, like, before they started having success, they didn't really have much success. It's kind of straight to the top.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it's not a slump if you're just expected to be at the bottom, yeah.
So yeah, 3 seasons without making the finals, if I'm right.
4 now.
4 now, yeah. So I'm expecting them to be right back on top. They've got the personnel. They've got, I mean, Grant Thompson's an amazing player right now. And they've got everything they need to succeed. So they're definitely favourites. I think you'd have to be quite delusional to not have them as to at least reach the final.
All right. Well, leflop, what do you think of the Shadow Shield to Thompson debate in both MVP and scoring leader for the season? Do you think it's the voters are veering towards the right side with Thompson favored for MVP, or do you think it's closer than that?
I would say I would think it's probably Thompson's to lose. Yeah, that might be spicy, but I just think the Ravens, the way they've been constructing their roster, kind of how they've been thinking about putting a support staff around Thompson. I think no discredit to Overlord. He's done the best he could. With what he's been given with Shadow Shield, but I would say I think the predictors had it right with Thompson.
And for the scoring leader, you expect the same? Shadow Shield is edging out Thompson with 2 votes, but currently, at the time of speaking, it's Thompson clearly in the lead with 7.5 points to Shadow Shield's 36, and Joe Cooper actually wedged in between them. Do you think it's already now 27 games played so far this season, so a 7-point drop off from now till the end of the season would be extremely unprecedented?
Yeah, it would be unprecedented. So and I think given the point guard situation, yes, I think I'm gonna lean Thompson is going to be hold on and not blow the 7-point lead.
Yeah. All right. So Nepto will get the sort of a mix and match miscellaneous pieces of the first section here. So for GM of the year, it was Jeff, a coach star in town. Do you think we're still on the right track for Jeff to take home the trophy, or is there something else in the waters? Very quiet. I think your headset microphone might be acting up if you're indeed speaking right now.
Looks like we're gonna have to come back to leflop.
What?
Oh, come back to nepto. I mean.
Where were we? Are we? Where?
Now it's working again.
Now it's working again. Oh yeah. Come back to yeah. I get it.
Okay, so what I was saying while I was on mute, the classic home office experience here. It's hard to judge a GM of the year race, in my opinion, because every year it feels like we got different criteria playing in from different peoples. For some, it's mainly about making off-season moves, and for some, it's about improvement from last season. For some, it's just performing above expectations with the roster that they've had maybe for seasons. I could see Jeff taking it home with the swing he took with the ECW trade early on into the offseason. But right now, the Ravens are still looking like the best team in the league. And I expect them to be comfortably on top with a first seed. And I could see Town taking home his next GM of the Year award due to that. Maybe the Iron Man if they keep up their hot start, but they've started to slow down a bit already, and I don't know if they can get it if they don't outperform the expectations like they did early on. So probably Town is my best pick for now.
Yeah, which makes me glad to have actually put Town in my predictions with the 13 other people. All right, so the other ones were Defensive Player of the Year between Van Rong, Titus Truffant, and The Field. and then sixth man of the year, which is Black Lotus and Kyrgyz and the Field. What do you think about those defensive player of the year first?
I'm not a fan of Van Rong for defensive player of the year for the whole reason that the Nightmare defense is still shitty. They are one of the worst teams defensively, and personally, I cannot vote for someone who is on one of the worst defensive teams in the league as the defensive player of the year. No matter he will have impressive stock numbers, especially block numbers, like he has had his whole career, but I don't think that's defensive player of the year worthy if we've got a comparable alternative. And maybe Trafford can be that when he ups his steal per game. Maybe it's time for a perimeter defender to rise above the rest and take one home. We will see, but for now, personally, I don't see Van Rong as a defensive player of the year, but I know that the voters might still vote him in regardless.
And for sixth man between Black Lotus and Kyrgyz and others, do you think there's any competition there?
How many minutes is Lotus playing this season?
22
I haven't kept up.
per minute
Yeah,
per
and
game, yeah.
scoring 10 points per game, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't see him winning it. Even though Gist is playing probably a good bunch of minutes more, he's just contributing more all over the court. They are 15 points per game, 5 assists per game, 3 steals and 2 blocks. That's definitely a way better case than Lotus has so far. I don't know if there are any real other candidates because, to be honest, I don't pay attention to six mans that much, and I think we have gone down on the total number through the cap problems that many teams had this season. So we have a lot more 5-man lineups than compared to last season, and probably just as then the front runner, even though the predictions have Lotus on top, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me so far.
Yeah. Some other players getting votes in there are also Mace Andrew, who is a weird selection, and Xavier May Jones, who plays something like 9 minutes a game, I think. So let's just take a look at Mace Andrew here quickly. Yeah, starting every single game so far this season, like I expected. So no good there.
Great job for predictions.
Yeah, excellent pick. All right, moving on to the predicted All SBA first team. It's Pablo De Silva Taylor with 64 votes to Cassandra Frost's 17 for point guard of the year. And then for shooting guard of the year, it's basically a unanimous vote for Edward Craven Walker with 78 votes to Adebowale Adekoya's 5. Then once again for small forward of the year, it looks like a predicted landslide with Jack Robinson getting 73 predictions to Maya Witherspoon's 7 and a group of other players getting 1. Then for power forward of the year, it's Morgan Shadowshield with 70 votes and Isaac Cannon having 7 votes for himself. And then Einar Ilmarsson and Joe Young getting 4 and 2 each. And seems like Young wouldn't be in contention for this award in his rookie season. And for center of the year, it's Grant Thompson with 81 predictions. And once again, a sort of joke prediction with Timothy Nowitzki Thurmond getting 2 votes. Let's cycle back to Danger. What do you think about the current? I don't think we really need to discuss the Center of the Year award race after the Grant Thompson MVP cases that were made there, but for Jack Robinson and Maya Witherspoon, do you think there's some smoke there that Maya could actually take home the award? At least I saw Paria having a bit of discussion about it earlier today that he might be losing the award to Witherspoon.
I feel like Witherspoon is probably the primary candidate right now. She's doing basically everything you want your small forward to do. Score 20 points a game on pretty efficient shooting. She's 61 true shooting percentage, which is what you want to see. Getting a load of rebounds, getting a load of assists. So, I mean, there's not much more you can ask for. Getting steals as well. So I think Witherspoon is probably in the driving seat, but not by a massive amount.
Yeah, 614 true shooting percentage is not exceptionally good, especially compared to Jack Robinson's 651, which I'd expect to even grow from there through the season since he's reaching his prime now. Yeah, but definitely doesn't seem like a 73-7 disparity between the two. And I would say as well that it's much closer than that. Do you guys have an opinion on this, leflop and nepto?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I guess I would go with Robinson for now, just because I think I personally think he's just a little bit better. You know, the without Bayo's sheets, just by my personal estimation, I would probably lean Robinson based on the stats. But you know, it's definitely, as you said, much closer than the prediction says.
I'm probably the only one here that currently sees Robinson in a pretty decent lead. So to break it down for me, Maya is having a tremendous season, but Robinson is still better. He's got a couple fewer points per game that he did last season, but he's making up for it. He's like 1 assist per game behind Maya. He's maybe 1 rebound per game behind, but he has fewer turnovers. He is blocking the ball over 1.3 times per game, I think. Almost got 3 steals per game as well, and is scoring at a pretty great rate still, like 65% true shooting. All in all, I think that's the more complete and better package, with statistically outperforming Maya in all areas beside. I think it's rebounding, like it's all close, but closely outperforming her in blocks and turnovers, as well as pretty much outperforming her in shooting and points per game, and losing out in rebounds, assists, and steals. But overall, I still like Robinson's performance better than Maya so far.
Yeah, I also still prefer Robinson in this current environment, but the conversation is more, or at least the point that was trying to make was that it's less inclined to 73-7 disparity indeed. Yeah, for shooting guard of the year, power forward of the year, and center of the year, would you guys be all in agreement that the favorites in predictions are indeed still the favorites, since they were very heavily leaning towards the top pick there in each?
I would argue point guard of the year is currently Frost. PDT is also having a career year, but Frost so far has had a tremendous start and is just performing at a whole nother level than compared to her first few seasons with the Corsairs and then Ironman. So I would say that's probably the only award that I really see going the other way than the predictions are currently set.
Yeah. Any disagreements from you guys, Leflop and Danger?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a pretty accurate assessment.
I don't know what I was doing when I was doing predictions. So I kind of cobbled some stuff together. So I'm one of the people who didn't choose Shadow Shield. and now I can't remember why I didn't. Whoops. So that's my bad. Whoopsie.
I also didn't pick Shadow Shield for Power Forward of the Year because I was sort of grabbing the joke that Overlord made about swapping Shadow Shield to play center later this season to make the most played position this season be center indeed. So that could still happen. That's still on the cards right now. I don't know if he'd be afraid to change up the scheme and the game plan while they're running quite well so far this season. So there's still a chance for that to happen. Indeed, that Shadow Shield and Thompson compete for center of the year instead. But yeah, that would be the main reason why I also don't have Shadow Shield in my predictions.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this in chat, but I wanted to see them fight for it. You know, I understand the reasons why not. You know, it's good for your legacy. You know, it's a bit better to split it and share it, and whatnot. But you know, I also think, you know, I'm spoiled, right? I fought against Hawkins and Prezzies all those years, so I prefer the battle, even though, you know, it didn't end well for either of us, either me or Prezzy, I suppose. But you know, I part of me wants to see that battle again, to see Thompson versus Saddle Shield. I would love that.
Well, at least you guys had the benefit of the second team being introduced at some point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you didn't have that luxury, then your careers would look a lot worse. Like in the Hall of Fame ballots and pages, and like just stacking them up, like having a.
Okay, Echo throwing shade, subtle shade. If you didn't have second team, your guys' careers would have been shit.
No, but I mean when it's like in the history books, it sort of looks more special once it says like 3 times all league second team, 2-time all league first team, compared to just 2-time all league first team. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the second team definitely helps to sort of accurately show these players, because I mean, I'm pretty sure there has been times where the second best player in the league, like without second team, that won't get any awards. For instance, you could definitely make the argument that in summer like the Hawkins years that Jaws should have got at least a center of the year, but just due to the MVP being there, then sometimes those players don't get the recognition. But having second team helps a lot with that.
We also still have a rookie of the year and most improved player of the year to go here. Rookie of the year, it's 77 predictors picked Marko Perkovic of Chicago Nightmare. Then you also have 2 votes each for Matt Thomas II, Nicholas Gale, and Joe Young. Does anyone have a strong opinion on why Perkovic would not end up being the Rookie of the Year?
I mean, he's not. He's
Yeah, go ahead, Danger.
I mean, Perkovic came in and he's essentially a pure scorer that we've seen, but he's not really doing it at great efficiency. So I could definitely see the argument that sure he's putting up 30 points a game, but he's not doing it well. So really, the stats just usage and being on a bad team, because he's not really providing enough to give him Rookie of the Year, I think.
I mean, I ranked them all a couple of days ago in a network article, so I still see Perkovic in a position to take home the Rookie of the Year based off pure volume alone. Sure, he is not in elite efficiency level yet, but around 60 true shooting percentage is pretty good for a rookie.
He's 57.6.
Is it?
Yeah.
He started week at like 59 point something, so.
Yeah, but it's just with the Sims here, yeah.
Okay, so I haven't checked up on that yet. I still had him second to Matt Thomas because Thomas was putting up similar volume numbers and also had some blocks and some more rebounds sprinkled into it. Sure, the Battalion are not a great team either so far, but he's still doing decent. I think the only one that can really challenge those two is, in terms of success and efficiency, Leon Lundell, Tomato, with his center, who has been putting up over 60% shooting from the field, a couple blocks, a couple steals, good assists per game for a center, and has done so on a playoff level team. I think one of the few guys beside Joe Young and Bridges Jr. in the Rookie of the Year race that are playing on playoff teams and playing starter minutes at that. So that would be my take.
I would definitely argue that, honestly, in my eyes, it's between Matt Thomas and Leon Lundell, because I don't think Perkovic, his scoring is like raw scoring numbers is only slightly better than Matt Thomas, but Matt Thomas offers a lot else and is doing higher efficiency. Whereas you can also, I think voters will have a look at London and see he's on a decent team, still scoring with better, like insane efficiency at 66 true shooting percentage, while getting 6 assists a game, 3.6 blocks, great steal numbers as well. So I definitely think that Leon Lundell, sorry, has a better chance right now in my eyes than Perkovic.
What do you think then, leflop?
It's hard for me, to be honest with you. I after that conversation I had with Abaddon in general chat a couple days ago, I don't know how. I don't even pretend to understand how Rookie of the Year is being voted on. To be honest with you, so I think, knowing what I know right now, I would probably still vote Perk, but I would not be shocked if anyone else wins it.
Yeah, in my eyes, right now, to update you on that, Nepto, Matt Thomas has a 59.3 true shooting percentage, whereas Perkovic has 57.6, as Danger said. So it's definitely now in Thomas's favor if you're just looking at the scoring types here. But yeah, about the voting for the player winning Rookie of the Year, I think it's going maybe too far to try to look into who's providing value or who's being a good soldier or a good role player. And sometimes, since I still think it's for the best rookie who had the best rookie season, and just no other context would be necessary. If Perkovic was keeping his early season efficiency and even maybe growing on it, then he'd look golden. But then also you have stuff like Joe Young, who has a more diverse game. Lundell, like you said, has a lot of defensive chops. And Thomas actually throttling Perkovic in the scoring / efficiency factors. So it's definitely interesting, but still a lot of season to go. And just depends on the upcoming schedule of how the numbers even out for the All-Star break. That's usually a good time to see the baseline comparison for everyone's stat line.
Definitely. Though I want to take the minute and do another shout out to Nicholas Gale for leading the whole league as a rookie in assists per game. He probably won't win Rookie of the Year because he's on the same team as Perkovic and he doesn't have some crazy steal numbers or the volume on points per game, but he's having a pretty good rookie season as well.
I think if you'd have a team like this Nightmare team is in real life, it would actually be quite interesting since they don't really play any defense, but Van Rong is still parked under the basket. Then you have like 3 rookies and then this weird Pakala guy just doing like all kinds of rookie/young guy wizardry and not caring about what's a good shot and getting to the playoffs or having a championship level offense and stuff like that. I think it'd be a quite interesting team in real life. Like if when Trae Young was a rookie, if they'd had like Clint Capella then, maybe that's sort of comparable.
We've got
I think
we've got a Twitch comment from Advanced Placement, who I believe is Fury. Says if he leads the league in assists as a rookie, he should win it. To be honest, that's his opinion on Nicholas Gale. I assume
That's absolute,
Gale?
right?
Yeah, I think it's
EP.
absolute
Oh,
as well.
absolute.
Yeah, AP.
Absolute, not Fury.
Difficult to say really, since that's
I don't like absolute statements.
yeah. I
in terms
also
of if he leads, then he should win it. Context always matters, and the things that you contribute beside the one specialty you're good in matters as well.
Yeah, I don't think Nicholas Gale is really offering enough as a rookie to outweigh. I mean, it's just the flaws of playing as a point guard, really.
yeah, but if
I
he
don't think he's really offering enough as a rookie to win Rookie of the Year.
if he ends up as the assist leader for the season, then it looks good, really good compared to Perkovic and Thomas, who still do their own thing but don't end up being the best in the league at it. But then you also have to consider the aforementioned players with a more diverse game and granted a more favorable playing position, such as Young and Lundell. So, yeah, there's a lot of looks like a good race so far, at least. Nothing more on Gale then?
I guess I would just like to say, like you said, if this team was in real life, be very interesting. I just want to show some appreciation to the GM for doing this and kind of giving the or really being experimental and having these settings to put up these numbers. I appreciate that.
Good. I also had a hand in this, of course, trading away the draft selection to pick a friendly hermit, getting Chicago's first this season in return. That's gonna be interesting. I'm not gonna talk about which ends up more valuable or better. I just think it's a good thing for them to have another rookie growing on the team, whereas on my team, the Iron Man, we probably couldn't have had that if we're looking to be one of the better teams in the league this season. Anyways, for most improved player, it's always very difficult to say in the beginning of the year. It's Brooklyn Muad'Dib selected 52 times, then Morgan Shadowshield 17 times, Maximilian Vlatko-Pezic 6 times, then Scotty Bishop, Edward Craven Walker, and Creamy Biggins. Biggins, obviously a throwaway, seems like. Craven Walker, sort of difficult to say that he's been most improved, hardly improving at all in his statistical sheet so far. But do you guys think there are some contenders outside this prediction picks? Or is Muad'Dib and Shadowshield, Pezic, Bishop sort of the competition we have? Let's go with Nepto first then.
You really got me thinking if there's anyone left in the league, because it's hard to catch these obvious improvements if you haven't followed everyone beforehand. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of someone who has made a big jump. Obviously, when I did my predictions, my first instinct was Bishop, but the huge numbers jump could make him unlikely to win it. So I got stuck with who did I pick? With Brooklyn Muad'Dib. Just because I thought he would take or she, I'm not sure, would take the next step. Shadowshield is a difficult one to pick as the most improved in my eyes. right now it probably would even be Thompson above Shadow Shield, but the question was if I see anyone else, and I can't think of one just yet.
Leflop, do you have any surprise candidates for most improved?
No, I feel like maybe it's like throwing darts at a board and hoping something sticks. I think this is always one of the toughest to pick. I can't really think of anyone. Certainly, no. I can't.
Danger, do you have anyone outside the players here mentioned?
No, I can't really pick someone off the top of my head. It's too difficult to try and like.
I'll put some.
It's something that you need a decent amount of like research to try and find out. I
Yeah. I'll put some names forth. Seth Vallano, even with the decrease in assists per game, a massive scoring efficiency bump. Same goes to Cassandra Frost this season. Also very similar. Not especially eye-popping numbers, but the true shooting percentage rise has been from 603 to 667 so far this season. And if it keeps up, it's going to be a totally different player this season compared to last. And then we also have some of the other young and growing players, namely Magnus Ekström. Then also I wish I could have had Talib Akili in this specific conversation, but it's not going especially well this season. So yeah, I think my pick would be actually Cassandra Frost or Seth Vallano right now, but we'll see the totality of it all come end of the season. All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Achilles' 3-point shot is back up to 32%. Hey.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's almost like filler. Wait, no. Actually, our fillers are super good nowadays in 3-point shooting. Yeah, that's rubbish.
Absolute has mentioned that Grant Thompson might be a good shout for most improved for 6 more points, 1 more block, 1 more assist, and I think about slightly better efficiency. I'm not sure, but
yeah. Like mentioned, that someone said that instead of Shadow Shield, it would be Thompson instead in the conversation for most improved. And we've seen things like this, when Troy Simmons won MVP trophy, he also won the Most Improved award. Yeah, so there's also some precedent for a player taking his star level to a superstar level instead. So yeah, it will be interesting. For the record, Thompson's efficiency numbers are at the time of recording the exact same as last season. So true shooting 660 and 660 usage has gone up by 1.4 percentage points, and the turnovers have gone down from 11.2% to 9.2%. So definitely in the running as well. With 43 minutes gone by, we've gone through our introductory first topic. So I think we're gonna sort of cut this loosely to 3 or 4 of the week, depending on how long we go on the next ones. But staying on the topic of most improved, well, I'd like to ask you guys if there's a most surprising player so far this season, like good or bad, but usually people don't like to point out the bad. But if you have something to point out, then go ahead. But the most surprising player so far this season, we'll go with leflop first. Do you have any?
To be honest with you, there's someone I'm looking at very closely, and it's definitely not because if I make a recreate, I will be following their build path pretty similarly, and that's Maximilian Vlatko Pejic.
Pejic, yeah.
Yeah, Pejic. I can't say it. I'm sorry. Pejic?
Pejic.
Pejic.
Yeah.
Each?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, each.
Each. Okay.
Yeah.
Each. Okay. So Pejic. Definitely not because that's something that my future player might look like. No. I thought, I just look at them. And I think, it's just like I feel like solid player. I just I don't know. I was like I'm actually interested in your thoughts on this player because I keep on looking at them and I was just like maybe should be doing a little more. I'm not sure.
I think Pesic is something that like we used to talk about in the past a little, where everyone sets their attribute baseline to say 70 or 85, and then they sort of specialize from there on out instead of the quite successful early season specialists like Monroe McMahon was our example last week. I think Pesic is definitely of that mold where you see the scoring attributes and athletics. I bunch in the scoring attributes are quite up there, but then you also lack the sort of final touch with low handling, low passing, and no offensive rebounding or even defensive rebounding to actually pop you off the page. So in his third year, I think Vlatko Pesic is a good player already, but he'd take some time to mature into the upper echelon where you need the more expensive TP allocatment. So yeah, this is a good example of a player type that I've talked about in the past, where guys just set their attribute baseline in the affordable section of TP and then either bank from there on out or then try to specialize in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th season. What do you think about this build path for Vlatko Pesic, nepto?
I kind of like it. I mean, it's in some points similar to what I have been doing so far with my second player. So going decent scoring, good athletics, some stocks. Well, this season even some defense and some mandatory defensive rebounding to help out on that end. I think for third season play, he's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
He's able to fill gaps from like shooting guard to power forward, whatever the team needs from him. He won't be the best power forward in the game, but he will be decent at it and better than someone playing out of position. But as you
Yeah,
said, he will
go ahead.
take some additional time to mature into an all-around player or like a high popping, standing high on the leaderboards in points, in assists, in steals and blocks, whatever he decides to follow through on. And I think that's also what Bayo intended when he made him. He wanted to be as versatile as possible. So
We do have a specialist here among us, with Jeremy Beremy famously being a very hardcore shot chucker since he stood first on an SBA court. Do you think there's merit to being a specialist early in your career, or do you also respect this sort of all-around game that you then can mold later on in your career, Danger?
It depends what you're going for, really. I mean, Maximilian was clearly, Pejic. Pejic?
Yeah.
Pejic is clearly like he's geared towards being like a useful team player, contributing to wins first, and then I imagine he's gonna build upon like the foundation that he's got to become a really, really strong player in like years 6, 7, and 8. So it really depends on what your goals are. Especially, there's definitely the argument that like the specialization can keep your team a bit worse in your early years, which means you can get better picks. But I mean, both values, both approaches are fine, really.
Yeah. Just looking at it on the surface, I would think most people would consider Vlatko Pesic to be a better player than my player Talib Akili is, even though I have a full season on Vlatko Pesic. But that just comes with the territory of investing into 95 fouling and 95 quickness and 95 steals earlier. where you need to spend your whole week improving one attribute by one attribute or 1 point, instead of like having this freedom to go with say 15 to defensive rebounding or 9 to handling, or well, in Pesic's case he doesn't have any more than 36 handling, but yeah. So it's a lot different. The results are not too admirable for the Ocelots this season once more, but I think the player like we've gone through here is very good and also set up to have a very good future as a freak player. Anyone else have a most surprising player so far this season? No? All right.
I don't think so. We are coming up to just about an hour now, so we might have to cut somewhat short. Well, not short. Cut at the the hour mark.
Yeah. How long do you have to go till?
What's that?
Well, how long do you? Well, of course, on my end, I can keep this rolling for as long as I like because I can just talk into my microphone as long as I like. But how long do you intend to keep the stream going on for?
Well, I'm doing something with some friends, so I'm gonna have to go in a couple minutes. But I'll stop the stream, but you guys can.
Yeah, that's
continue
all right.
doing
That's
the
all right.
recording.
Yeah. If everyone else is in agreement that we can go through some of the little topics here, then we can do that for sure. Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
good with it.
so I'll leave you guys to finish off the podcast on the recording. So anyone from the Twitch, if you want to see the rest of this,
Yeah, this is just a teaser then. So the full podcast, the remains of, I think we still have this most surprising talk and then 2 more topics quickly. So yeah, I'll post it today in the podcast section and on the YouTube pages, so everyone who gets starved of their 5 of the week content can check out the outtakes later.
On theory, you could still jump into the voice chat and just mute yourself and listen that way.
Absolute, but yeah.
that works too. Okay, well, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for letting me onto the podcast again.
Of course. See you.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, yeah. See you later, GG.
For most surprising player so far this season, I had in mind Joe Cooper, who we talked about extensively almost this past weekend. Since I was very surprised that he could still keep up his sort of decent ways. His true shooting percentages, it's a rookie level. It's like comparable to Matt Thomas right now, but the volume is excellent still. So that would be a surprising player so far this season. And then also, of course, because I like to keep close watch to my own player, also very surprising that it's not gone so well this season. Any shot that has not been an inside shot attempt, let's see here, has been just a wasted opportunity. Jump shot percentage so far this season for Talib Akili, 160. And 3-point attempt, 3-point percentage so far this season, 328, which is almost 100 offensive rating. Yay! Not so good.
He will go up. I think we talked about it in the Aviators locker room already.
Yeah, so. Yeah. For anyone watching, the gist of the message there was, let's see. I am just messing with you. That percentage will go up significantly over the course of the season, so I'm just gonna hold nepto to that word, significantly. It better go up significantly. Well, that was from 28%, but anyways, it's on me to make a better player next time, I guess. Let's just, I'm gonna make a note here of where we. This is some very good live editing. Yeah. The next topic would be then bullets stuck in Evans's first season as general manager. The Brooklyn Bullets, after today's sim on 4th of November, are 13 and 14, below 500 in their first 27 games. Yeah, we also talked about the Brooklyn Bullets this past weekend, but leflop, you've been here through times when the Brooklyn Bullets franchise was near undefeatable. Do you long for the time that the black and white would actually be competitive and scary each game they go into? Or do you think it's refreshing to see some of the teams like the Aviators, Wolverines, Inferno, and the Vipers up there once more in the standings?
That is a good question. And I would answer that question with another question is, do you think the NBA is better when the Knicks are good?
Well, the Brooklyn Bullets have had significantly more success than the Knicks. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. I think the NBA is good when the Knicks are good just because it drives viewership and interest and investment in the league. But other than that, I don't really care for the Knicks at all. So it's difficult to say.
Yeah, for me, there was the Lakers lean years and the Knicks very lean years. I think it's good to see a franchise that was down and out to be good. The Bullets run last season was very impressive. Very happy that the Aviators won. Don't get me wrong. Between Nepto and Bobby and yourself and everyone else, congratulations on such a on winning and accomplishing a very difficult task. But also at the same time, it felt nice. I will say it was nice watching the Bullets make a deep run, especially from that era. The idea of Shaka trading for so many picks from that draft class in his final season, doing that with Evans on board. It's a different style. You know what you're getting from an Evans team. And yes, to be frank, yes, I do want the Bullets to succeed. I do want Evans to succeed. I think he has a GMing style that I don't think enough people try for or appreciate. So, and I appreciate his style a lot. So, yes, I am rooting for the Bullets and I am rooting for Evans.
Cool.
I'm just expecting the inevitable reload through free agency and trading away draft picks this coming off season.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about Evans-led teams, like that's all I have seen from him when I joined, when he was still with the Nightmare. That was his his whole thing. Never picking someone with a draft pick, always trading it away for established talent.
Yeah, and even more often than not, some of his close pals, which definitely might not be on the card, seeing Cerro Miedo is in regression and Sky Terry has no interest on being a good team. So yeah, I think, well, obviously Evans gets along with most anyone who behaves and earns TP and makes a good player. That's no problem. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time for sure. Like having this sort of like being in this position in the standings is not especially promising, since you are not competing for the fun of the playoff week, or even in the you're not looking at a good draft pick where you'd actually be having intrigue for the next few years as well. So it's definitely a difficult position, but I also expect there to be a lot of stuff going on in free agency with not only the Bullets but everyone on every other team competing for the players. But yeah, the Knicks conversation, or the Knicks point was interesting, but I think it's more comparable to the Lakers, I guess. Bullets, yeah, and definitely the same applies there. Although I like the Lakers, like gold and purple, much better than the Knicks, whatever the fuck it is. And yeah, and now that the Lakers are successful, yeah, I think it's good for the league. Anyways,
I mean, the Bullets struggling is just a product of the tight situation in the middle this season that
Yeah.
the cap has produced. So
Yeah.
many teams are able to fight for those playoff spots, and it shows so far. We have not like usually, of course, we got our tanking teams like we talked about them last week, and we got our top teams, but in the middle, it's a wide open race for a bunch of teams, and the Bullets are in the middle of it. They could still climb in very handily over the next couple of sims, but it could also mean they're missing the playoffs despite all the talent on their roster. So
Yeah, the Bullets are, let's see here, 4 games back. Yeah, 4.5 games back of the Thunderbirds, who would be considered a very successful team this season with 18 wins in 28 games and only 3 games back themselves from the division lead. So, yeah, they're sort of in the mid range, but right now, as of now, on the bottom of the mid table, which doesn't inspire confidence, but then again, could also change in a Sims time, really. Indeed. So, for our fourth of the week, selected sort of seeing some conversation there about Diego Rossi. I wanted to talk about the best players that you never see talked about, who didn't, well, even if they made the Hall of Fame, but that's never talked about at all. Maybe their user has gone inactive or gotten banned even, or then in general their next players have been more successful or more memorable otherwise. Who are the best players that you never see anyone talk about? We can go to leflop first here.
Oh, this is a tough one. I've only been here, a short amount of time. Well, I mean, I guess not that short. I'm on the end of my second player. Oof. The first one that probably comes to mind for me would probably just be that Prowlers team that you were on. That the Bojack, and oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting these players. It was Prezzies, it was Bojack, it was DBKG,
Yeah,
Prezzies,
Cairo
yourself,
Ganar is the player.
Ganar, yeah, and Bojack Peanut Butter was the other one, right?
Yeah.
And then oh my god, George Godington. I forgot his player already.
Yeah, Jörg or whatever.
Yeah, George Godington. I mean, I thought he was fantastic. I loved talking to him in the locker room, getting to know him as a person. Basically, that Philly team, I really liked that Philly team a lot, especially when you were on it. So I guess my nostalgia would be that Philly team. Unfortunately, I don't think they ever even came. Did they even get a conference finals? I'm not sure if they
No.
did, but that's
it
unfortunate.
was just one season of with Oko there, and the rest they didn't make the conference finals either.
Because they went from Oko to they went from Harklewood to Nimas Jr., right? Yeah, and then after that they just they kept their core together. I forgot who they even got rid of. I don't think they really
They
got
had
rid
to
of
get
anybody.
rid of Brand at some point.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's so bad. I forgot about Brett. Of course, he's so forgettable. I'm so sorry, Lefty. So sorry. Oh my oh, I feel bad. I feel bad. I literally forgot about Lefty. Please, I hope you don't listen to this, Lefty. I'm so sorry.
No, I hope Lefty listens to this. Any listener / viewer I can get is very good. So let's just say it straight. Lefty has provided nothing of value to the SPA. Boo! Boo! Boo!
Oh my.
All right. See you around, Lefty. So yeah, best player that's never talked about. Who do you think would be the best player that's never talked about? There, I think with Alexander Marcus's success over the last seasons, I think Nemias Jr. eventually flies under the radar a bit. So he'd fit that trajectory there with the Prowlers then. But on that Prowler's team, it was definitely like a lot of young players and then one good player who just decided to go play there instead of another team. So it's difficult to say, but it's definitely memorable because it wasn't like a traditional carrying process that you'd see from effective high volume scorers and great offenses like Joe Cooper, uh, Grant Thompson now, and Ja Walker Santos, etc. So yeah, definitely a failure competitively, but in terms of enjoyment, a very nice experience in Philadelphia. Then, do you have anyone
I
you'd like to nominate? Yeah, go ahead.
still think Hucklewood was robbed of one Defensive Player of the Year, but that's a different topic. Like the season, he had like 3.3 steals per game, I think.
Let's see here. I remember this conversation each time.
Crazy blocking, but he also had some crazy blocking as well, and
Yeah.
some pretty big stealing numbers.
Yeah, I remember this specific thing when K-Dang pointed it out that I was the deciding vote and I voted for McMahon instead. So it's sort of my bad, but generally whatever. If I deemed him the better defender, then yes, that's the way it goes. Then I have no leg to stand on there. Then. But do you think
for
there's a
players that are not talked about anymore, I would probably go with either Benjamin Chevelle or Clyde Alexander. Those are two guys from the early mid 40s that I remember as a first gen, because Chevelle was on my predictions for 3 seasons straight or something like that
yeah?
for MP or Sender of the Year, and he only won it once in the end, but he still was a pretty dominating player. And same for Alexander, for someone that practically averaged 20 and 10 for his whole career and had 2 different positional awards, and yeah, was just a crazy good player. He's barely talked about anymore.
I take it you didn't read the Hall of Fame nomination for Clyde Alexander then, or did
No, I
you?
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I wasn't part of the team back then.
But you didn't read it in afterwards either.
No.
Ah, okay. Since
I haven't dug in that far.
yeah, at least for Clyde Alexander, he got the recognition there. So it's definitely not very often talked about, which goes for Adrian Columbus and and this Jack Straw, both in terms
Oh,
of Doc Holiday
that's a good one.
players. No, don't know what's going on. I don't know if Doc is happy with the career goals he set out to have or not, but definitely not talked about very often for a super high earning players. Even if Alexander made the Hall of Fame, not very often talked about. But in the same vein, I feel like Masato Miyamoto is very often forgotten. I think he was the best player in the Brooklyn Bullets teams for like 3 seasons straight, even with Robotastic Prime claiming some of the awards and stuff. I think Miyamoto was the player holding it all together, playing point guard, shooting guard, and even small forward in some cases. I think that's one good player that's almost never talked about now. Also, Pitarell is out of the league, which coincides with a lot of people not being reminiscent of, hey, you used to have this, you used to do this, and so forth. I
Yeah,
think
Pete Harrell. Yes. I hope if you know, by some chance, if you're listening to this, I hope you're doing well. But yeah, what a guy. You know, Steele's up for nomination right now, so you know we'll see.
yeah. So
Will he?
Pitarell's next player, Sebastian Steele, yeah, also up on the Hall of Fame ballot for the next class of season 56. Would it be? Yeah, 6. Yeah.
I think the
Uh,
write-ups are currently at 56.
yeah. Let's just go to season 44 index and just pick out a player that no one seems to talk about very often. Yeah,
Well,
There's some.
While you're doing that, I do want to shout out Evans again. Just to say, Lesnar. I think him not being in the Hall of Fame. I still want to say he had a great career. When that MVP, just doing it all, having that late season, late career jump, and then with Diabase, when I think of D-Base or D-Base,
DiBiase, I think, is the.
DiBiase, yes. I think of bringing the Corsairs back. That's no small feat. So I would say shout out to Evans there. Even Clyde Alexander made it to the Hall of Fame, but Lesnar didn't, and I'm not sure if DiBiase is going to either. So or D-Base. I would say
That guy,
while we brought up Doc.
D'Angelo.
Oh yeah, D'Angelo. Yeah. I'm bad with names. Whoops.
Yeah, I think also when you look at the list of former finals or playoffs MVPs, then you get a good sense of how time has passed some of the players by. Like starting from Miyamoto, there is Michael McConaughey Jr., superseded by A.L. Bedusha, who seemed to be a lot more popular or infamous for staying on the Houston Ravens through his career. And then you also have players like Andrew Wall, who was a delightful two-way center/power forward. Ended up winning I think it might have even been in regression.
He had a playoff MVP.
Yeah, but I think it even was in regression. Might not be. But that was also a very interesting quirk of the rotating Houston Ravens playoff MVP, while Ja Walker Santos was growing into an adult shark. So you have here Andrew Wall, then Roy Johnson, then a little bit of Senna Sharp until you have the Steel, Walker Santos, and Beduja trident going crazy. So there's a lot of forgotten players, like not necessarily forgotten, but overlooked players in the past, high profile as well.
Want to name Armstrong to the list as well?
Yeah.
Ken Armstrong.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he
good one.
dipped into inactivity on the back end of his prime, but still was sort of the kingmaker for the Vipers team that made the finals with, I don't know if it's the franchise high in wins, 69. And I think he even had another decent season after that. So even as an inactive, he was still pretty good. Just not recognized or talked about as much.
Yeah. I think, let's see here, on the season for the Brooklyn Bullets, they won the championship and the playoffs MVP was. Is this supposed to be the year Ken Armstrong won the award? I think so. Yeah, a fourth-year player. That's very rare. Like you said, maybe went inactive in his last two prime seasons, but early on was a definite powerhouse, good scorer, good defender, and had all the characteristics of a power forward/center player of that time. Wonder if we could pull some results in a thread or in a poll later, or anyone could submit their best player that's never talked about and maybe make an entire episode on some of them later. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like Danger already earlier said when he had to dip on the Twitch broadcast, we're gone way over time talking about the league-wide predictions for SBA. So we're just going to keep it 4 of the week since it was 4 of us. It seems fitting, although cheap. So with a runtime of just about 1 hour 15 minutes, it's time to bid goodbye. So from leflop.
Goodbye.
Nepto.
See you all next time around, whenever that is.
And of course, from me, it's going to be have a great day and see you all again next week.